So a couple things that are important from this lesson. When writing your answer, it has to be in standard form, so you want the real number first, then the imaginary number. Also, I is the square root of -1, and that means I squared is equal to -1. So anytime we have an I squared in our problem, we can always simplify by turning it into -1. So for number 1, it says perform the indicated operations and write the complex number in standard form. What should we do for number 1? So we want to try to get what's under the radical to be the same, so we're going to break down everything in the radical. So here I have 10 and 5. 10 breaks down into 2 and 5. So what can I take out of my radical? A 5, and what else? An I. So this would be 7 times 5i square root. What's left on the inside? 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one here. I have 4 and 10. 4 breaks down into 2 and 2. 10 is 2 and 5. What can I take out? I can take out 2's. So this would be 2 times 2. And then what's left on the inside? 10. What should I do next to simplify? Right, I can multiply what I took out, so this is 35i square root 2 plus 4 square root 10. Can I combine these together? No, because the radicals aren't the same, so I can't. And also one of them has an I, so I couldn't even combine them. Is this in standard form? No. I need to write the 4 square root 10 first, and then the term with the I.
So if you put the I first, it'll be wrong.
All right, number 2. What should I do first here? Logan. Distribute the -3. So 4 plus 3i. I can just get rid of these parentheses here because I'm just adding. So 2 minus 4i. And then I need to distribute. -3 times 8 is -24. And then -3 times 2i, -6i. And then I can just combine my like terms. So I'm going to combine all the real numbers first. I have 4, 2, -24. So that would be -18. And then I can combine all my imaginary numbers. So 3i minus 4i minus 6i, -7i. And that's my answer. So distribute this -7. So this would be -21. And what's -7 times -9i? Positive 63i. And then distribute the -8. So what's -8 times 12i?
96i.
-96i. And -8 times -5? Plus 40. So combine my like terms. I need to combine my real numbers first. So -21 plus 40, 19. And then my imaginary numbers, 63i minus 96i, -33i. So I can't just distribute that squared. I have to FOIL. This is 7 minus 5i times 7 minus 5i. Multiply the first terms, the outsides, the insides, and then the last. What should I do next? So this is 49 minus 70i plus 25i squared. What else can I do? Awesome. This I squared gets changed to -1. And what's -1 times 25? negative 25. So I'm going to change this to a negative 25. Do I have any more like terms I can combine? 49 minus 25 would be what? 24. So I have 24 minus 70i. So what is our conjugate of 3 minus 14i? 3 plus 14i. And then we just need to multiply these two together. So we have to FOIL. Multiply our first terms, our outside, so it's 3 times 14i. $32, $42. 42i minus 42i. And then negative 14i plus times positive 14i. Negative. Yes. So you could just square the first term, square the second. That works. Whenever you're multiplying conjugates, that works. Because the middles are always going to cancel. So you don't even have to do the outsides and the insides because they cancel. So we have 9. What does the negative 196i squared turn into? Positive. So 9 plus 196 would be? 7. 205. What's our conjugate of 4 plus 3i? 4 minus 3i. So multiply the first terms, the outsides, bless you, the insides, and then the last. The insides cancel, so 16 minus 9i squared. What does the I squared turn into? Negative 1, so that becomes 16 plus 9. Yes.
So you're not squaring.
All right. Any questions there? Let's look at 7. How can we get this I out from under our denominator? Multiply by the conjugate. So what's our conjugate of 3 minus 8i? 3 plus 8i. And what I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. Do you want to multiply the top or the bottom first? Let's do the top. So the top we have to FOIL. Multiply the first, we get 15. The outsides, this would be plus 40i. The insides would be minus 21i. And then the last would be minus 56i. Yeah, squared. And then combine like terms. What does the I squared turn into? Negative 1, so this becomes a plus 56. So I can combine my real numbers. What's 15 plus 56? 71. And then what is 40i minus 21i? 19i. So that's what we're going to get on top. Now we want to FOIL the bottom. So I'm going to multiply my first terms. I get 9. The outsides would be 24i. The insides minus 24i. And then the last would be minus 64i squared. So this, I'm FOILing the bottom. The middle parts cancel. What does my I squared turn into? Negative 1. So this becomes a plus 64. So what's 9 plus 64? 73. So the bottom, when I FOIL it out, I get 73. And that's my answer. What do I have to do for number 8? Multiply by the conjugate. So what's the conjugate? 3 minus 3i. So let's multiply the top first. I'm going to get 15. Multiply the outsides. This would be minus 15i. The insides would be minus 12i. And then the last would be plus 12i squared. What does the I squared turn into? Negative 1. So this becomes a negative 12. Then I can combine my like terms. 15 minus 12. 15 minus 12. The real part. The real part.
Oh, I thought we were combining the middle.
Now we can do the imaginary terms. What do we get?
Negative 27.
Yeah. So that's the top. Now let's FOIL out the bottom. Multiply the first, the outsides, the insides, and then the last. What do I have to do next? The middle terms cancel and the I squared turns into negative 1, so it makes it a plus 9. And what's 9 plus 9? 18. Can I simplify this?
Yes.
How? Everything's divisible by 3, so I can divide everything by 3. So I would get 1 minus 9i over 2.
Wait.
Nope, you're right. 6. What should I do first to solve? The quadratic. I can check and see if I can factor. 10. Do I have two factors of 10 that add to 3? 2 times 5, but one of them would have to be negative. But it's a positive 10. So that doesn't work. So the quadratic. Our A is 2, our B is 3, and our C is 5. So plug it into our quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Gotta know that for your quiz tomorrow. So I have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 4 times 2 times 5 over 2 times 2. So negative 3 plus or minus, what's 4 times 2 times 5? 40. And 9 minus 40? Negative 31 over 4. Can I break down the square root of negative 31? Can I take anything out of there? I can take out the I. So this negative comes out as an I. So this would be negative 3 plus or minus I square root 31 over 4. That's my answer. If you can simplify the radical, make sure you simplify it. But here we don't have two factors of 31 other than 1 and 31. What should I do first? Can we factor it? So do I have two factors of 15 that add to negative 2? 3 and 5. And which one's negative? 5. So 3 and negative 5. So in my parentheses here, I have x plus 3 and x minus 5. What do I have to do next?
Wait, what do you have to have a negative?
Oh yeah, you're right. Same reason for the last one, because this multiplies to negative and it's not a negative 15. So it doesn't work. So we can't factor. So our A is 3, our B is negative 2, and our C is 5. Let's use the quadratic just like the last one. So we have negative B, negative negative 2, and negative positive 2, plus or minus the square root of B squared. So negative 2 squared would be positive 4, minus 4 times A times C over 2 times A. Let's simplify this a bit. In here, 4 times 3 times 5 would be 60, negative 60. So what's 4 minus 60?
Negative 56.
Negative 56 over 6. Can I break down the square root of 56? 2 goes into 56. How many times? 28. 2 goes into 28. 14. And then 2 and 7 go into 14. So do I have any pairs?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I got a pair of 2s that I could take out. And what's left on the inside? 14. So this would be, yeah, 2 plus or minus 2i, because I take out that negative also.
It's just 14.
Yes. Because the only thing I have left is 2 and 7. And 2 times 7 is 14. Over 6. Can I simplify this?
Yes.
Yep. All 3 of these numbers here are divisible by what? 2. So I can divide all of these by 2. So I would get 1 plus or minus I radical 14 over 3. Yes.
So what?
All right, so let's say I had 100 x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. And I had to solve for x. What do I do? Subtract 9. So 100 x squared is equal to negative 9. What should I do next? Divide by 100. So x squared is equal to negative 9 over 100. Square root everything. So x is equal to what? Awesome. So we would get plus or minus the square root of negative 9 over 100. I can take out the negative and turn it into an I. And then I can simplify the fraction, because this is like saying the square root of 9 over the square root of 100. What's the square root of 9? 3. So this would be plus or minus 3. And then the square root of 100? 10. So it would be 3i over 10. But you could write the I on top, or you could just write it like behind it if you wanted to. There. Either way works.